Do you need a cybersecurity degree to get a job in cybersecurity? Not always. That is the answer I want to make clear in this episode. A university degree can absolutely help. It can strengthen your profile, it can give you structured learning, and for some employers or career paths, it can be a useful signal, but it's not absolutely essential for every cybersecurity job. Now, certifications and projects are also valuable because they show hiring managers what you have studied, what you can explain, and what you can actually apply. If you have all three, a relevant degree, relevant certs, and a strong project portfolio, that is the trifecta. That is a very strong signal. But if you do not have a degree, that doesn't mean the door is closed, and it's important that I get that message across today. But the real question is, for my target role, my background, my market, my finances, and my timeline, what is the best next move? Today I'm going to give you the decision framework I would use before committing serious time or money to a cybersecurity degree. This is Cyber Careers with Luke Gough. I am Luke Gough, a working cybersecurity recruiter and career coach, and this is the show where I answer cyber questions from the recruiter side of the table. Today we're going to talk about degrees, we're going to talk about certifications, projects, portfolios, and how to decide what is actually worth it. Now, from the recruiter side, a degree is one signal. A certification is another signal, and a project portfolio is once again another signal. But they do different jobs. A degree can show structured study, it can show discipline, academic ability, it can show exposure to security concepts and commitment to the field, which can help. Now, a certification can show you have covered a recognised body of knowledge for a role or certain domain, and a project or a portfolio can show how you apply that knowledge that you've learned. It gives a hiring manager or recruiter something practical to assess, and that is why I put so much weight on certifications and projects for early career candidates. They're not perfect proof, but they're closer to the work than simply saying you're interested in cybersecurity. If someone has a relevant degree, relevant certs, and a strong project portfolio, then that is an excellent combination. But not everyone has that. In fact, most don't. But the degree by itself does not automatically prove you can do the job. And not having a degree doesn't automatically rule you out. I get so many questions all the time about asking, Luke, should I be doing a degree, or should I be doing a certification and a degree, etc. Now, if I'm looking at an entry-level cyber candidate, I still want to know what role that they are targeting, what practical evidence they actually have, what tools or what frameworks they've touched, and how they communicate this. I want to know whether their resume makes sense for the job. So let's talk about why a degree can help you. A cybersecurity degree, for example, a computer science degree, IT degree, or related qualification can help you in a few ways. Firstly, it can give structure to your learning. It can give you a broader technical foundation. It can also help if you're coming from a non-technical background and you need an organised path into the field. And that's probably when I would say it can help people the most, if you're coming from that complete non-tech background. Now, it can help for employers that value formal education, especially in industries such as government, consulting. You've got graduate programs, research, policy, risk, leadership pathways, or even some enterprise environments. It can also help if the course gives you practical labs. Some do. If it gives you industry connections, maybe internships, you've got assignments or projects that you can turn into portfolio evidence. So I need to say I'm not anti-degree. That would be too simplistic. A degree can be useful, it absolutely can. It can strengthen the story and it can sit well alongside certifications and projects. But listen, it's not magic. And it's not the only way in. So next up, let's talk about why certifications and projects matter so much more. Certifications and projects matter because they help answer a completely different question. Now, a degree says, I have completed structured education, whereas a certification says, I have covered this particular body of knowledge. Now, a project says, here's how I applied it. That application piece is important. If you want a SOC analyst role, a hiring manager may want to see that you understand alerts or logs, phishing analysis, or escalation and basic investigation. Whereas if you want GRC roles, they may want to see that you understand risk and controls, evidence, policy, and definitely stakeholder communication. If you want identity access management roles, IAM. They may want to see that you understand access, identity, lifecycle, MFA, permissions, and documentation. Now, a project portfolio can make that visible, and that's key. That does not mean that every project has to be advanced. It really doesn't. It means that the projects should be relevant, they should be documented and explainable. The strongest candidates don't just say, I studied cybersecurity. They say, I studied this, I built this, I documented this, and here is how it connects to the role that I am applying for. Now, if you watch my YouTube videos, you'll know that I always talk about building portfolios. I'm such a strong believer in this, and also as I am a recruiter, I see this week in, week out. And in this day and age, hiring managers are looking for more proof than just theory. So if you're on the edge here and you're not sure which one, whatever you do, make sure you do build those portfolios and projects. Okay, the trifecta. So the strongest combination is degree plus certs plus portfolio, because you've covered all bases. A relevant degree can give credibility and structure. Relevant certifications can show recognized knowledge, and a portfolio can show practical application. Together, they make a much stronger case than any one of these by itself. If you think about it, a hiring manager may want someone who has that university background. If they've come from a degree background themselves, they often like people who have that as well. Not always, but it's important to understand that each hiring manager is different. Now, you may come across a hiring manager that's built all their skills from scratch. They've gone in through the certification, their project route, maybe a help desk, and moved their way up. And it depends what perspective they're looking for. But if you have all three, you've covered all bases. Now, together, they make a much stronger case. But not everyone starts with all three. Some people came in with a degree but no projects. Some people come in with certs but no degree. And some people come in with IT experience and practical evidence but no uni background. The goal is not to panic because you're missing one piece. The goal is to understand what signal you already have and what signal you need next. So when university is probably not the next move, let's talk about that. There are times when I would be cautious about starting a degree. If you're doing it because you have no target role, pause. If you're doing it because possibly you're scared to apply for jobs, pause. If you already have a degree and basic certifications but no projects, no tailored resume and no networking, another qualification may not fix a real problem. If the course is mostly theory and gives you no practical evidence, be careful. And if you have to take on debt that you do not understand, be very careful. If the job ads you want do not mention degrees, but they repeatedly mention Security Plus, NEAM, Cloud, Risk, ISO 27001, Essential 8 if you're here in Australia, scripting or hands-on experience, then you listen to the market because the market is telling you what signal it wants. And cybersecurity changes, the market changes. Keep up to date, keep listening and watching for the signals. So let's talk about the job ad test. Now, before enrolling, I would run a simple test. I would find 20 job ads for the roles you actually want, whether that's SOC, IAM, it doesn't matter. Pick the role that you want, not dream roles 10 years away, the next realistic roles. I want you to put them in a spreadsheet. Track what they ask for. Do they ask for a degree? Maybe they ask for postgraduate study, or do they say degree preferred, or do they say equivalent experience? Have a look at which certifications appear, which tools appear, which frameworks appear, which soft skills are often coming up in these ads. If a degree appears often and would strengthen your application, that's useful evidence. If degrees barely appear but hands-on projects, tools and certifications appear everywhere, that is also useful evidence for you. Do not make a major education decision based on just a feeling. Use job ads as market research. Now, a question I do get a lot is about a master's degree. So I wanted just to spend a little bit of time talking about this and where a master's degree fits. Now, a master's university question. For some people, postgraduate study can make sense. For others, it doesn't. It may help if you're targeting leadership, research, policy risk, consulting, government, academia, or a more specialised career path where postgraduate study is valued. It may possibly help if the programme has practical work, industry connection and projects you can show. But for many entry-level candidates, a master's degree is not the first thing I would reach for. Definitely not. If you do not know your target role, if you have no practical experience, or if your resume is still generic, then postgraduate study may be an expensive way to delay the harder work. Now, that does not mean it's bad, it just means the sequence matters. Education does not only cost money, but it costs time and attention. If a degree takes years of study, what else could you build in that time? You could complete Security Plus and one role-specific certification, depending on what path you're going down. You could build a portfolio of 4 or 5 projects. You could attend industry events. You could tailor some serious applications. You could even move from help desk into a security adjacent role. You could build a public learning trail on LinkedIn or GitHub. So once again, it doesn't mean that the degree is wrong. It just means you need to compare it against the other paths, not against doing nothing. The real comparison is degree versus the best alternative use of that time and money. So let's talk about the middle path. For many candidates, the best answer is not a degree or no degree forever. So if you're starting out, you may be better off first building foundations, choosing a target role, creating some practical evidence you can use, and getting one recognised cert. That combination gives you something a hiring manager can actually evaluate. Then once you understand the industry a bit better, you can decide whether university, college still makes sense for you. Now at that point, the degree becomes additive. It sits on top of a clearer direction. It comes on top of stronger evidence and a better understanding of the current market. You can also look at shorter options. There are graduate certificates, single units, vendor training. There's TAFE pathways here in Australia. Role-specific courses or even practical labs may give you a smaller test before committing to that full degree. Again, check the quality and relevance. Not all training is equal. Now, here's my decision framework. Here is the framework I would use. Question 1, what role am I targeting? Question 2, what does the market ask for in that role? Question 3, what evidence am I missing right now? Question 4, would a degree directly fill that gap better than projects, certification, experience, or networking? Question 5, can I afford the time, money, and attention without damaging the rest of my life? Question 6, does the course produce practical output I can show employers? And question 7, if I do not do the degree now, what is my 90-day alternative plan? And that final question matters, because if your alternative is nothing, then structured study may be better than drifting. But if your alternative is a focused plan of projects, certifications, job ad research, networking, and applications, that may be more powerful in the short term. Now, one thing I like to do at the end of these podcasts is do a bonus Q&A. So let's talk through some questions that I get very often in my comments on my YouTube and on social media. Question 1, can I get into cybersecurity without a degree? Yes, absolutely possible, but you still need evidence. If you don't have the degree signal, you need to be even clearer with certs, projects, role targeting, experience, networking, and resume positioning. Question 2, will a degree get me past HR filters such as applicant tracking systems, ATS? Well, sometimes it may help, especially where a degree is preferred, but most entry-level cyber hiring still needs role fit. It still needs evidence and clear positioning, so don't just rely on the degree alone. Question 3, what have I already enrolled? Then make it practical. Turn assignments into portfolio pieces. Connect with lecturers and classmates. Use every project to support a target role. Do not just let the degree live separately from your job search. Question 4, what would I do if I was starting again? I would choose the target role first. Then I would build the minimum credible evidence for that role. Only then would I decide whether university study is the best next investment. A cybersecurity degree can be valuable, but it is definitely not mandatory for everyone, and it is not a shortcut. Certifications and projects matter because they help prove what you know and what you can actually do. If you already have a degree or you choose to add one later, that can strengthen the story. A degree plus certs plus portfolio is the trifecta. But before you enroll, make sure you know the role, read the market, understand the costs involved, and compare it with the best alternative use of your time. If you have a question for a future episode, send it through the form in the show notes. And if you want to help decide in the next best move for your cyber career, my coaching link is there too. Thanks for listening. As always, keep leveling up your career. Follow Cyber Careers so the next episode lands automatically. I'll see you on the next one.